cream and it's Irish.
Hurry up and order!
Excuse me. Thank you. How about a smoothie? What's in that?
Smoothie's a juice drink. We want coffee.
Buddy, relax.
No, you relax. I'm a regular here. This line needs to move.
I beg your pardon. Do you have scones?
Tall, non-fat, double latte.
Sir, you're at the back of the line.
I recognize that.
Cut it out or you're out of here.
You can't kick me out.
You know what? You're really invading my ear space.
Look, I'm a frequent coffee drinker. I'm part of the club. I have a card. Do you have a card? Do you have a card?
No, I don't have a
Does
card.
anyone here have a card?
We don't have frequent drinker cards.
That's a video club card.
Ah!
Zip it there, Sporty Spice!
Are we doing this?
Oh.
Is this happening now?
Wonderful to see all of you here this morning. Here in this faith community, we provide the opportunity or the entry point for you to discover, investigate, figure out what it is that you believe. If this is your first time with us, we welcome you, and we hope that you enjoy our style of service. I also want to let you know that our screens play a very large role in our service, and so if you're positioned in a way that you can't see a screen, please feel free to turn at the appropriate times to see that. Also, we ask that you would fill out a blue communication card if you haven't done that. They are located in the blue baskets on the table, and that is also a location where you can place your financial contributions to this faith community. Our faith community meets here at Entry Point every other week. Oh yeah, this is Conner Prairie, entry point to Conner. Thank you. This is now an entry point to me. So on the Sundays that we're not here, we offer a virtual service. And if you don't know how to get that virtual service, please see me after today so that I can help you get connected so that you can watch those. If you need childcare, I don't see any need right now, but if you need childcare, we do offer services. We have Kate and Bob and Jen Jansen can guide you to them if they're otherwise preoccupied. Also this morning, we are pleased to welcome Dwayne Couch to Today we are talking about what it means to be civilized. Now, I'm pretty certain that at some point in your life when you were misbehaving, one of your parents said to you, "Can you act like a civilized human being?" I know mine did. So we're going to review what that means. What does it mean to be a civilized human being? Let's watch our next video clip. your heart, to your heart, to your heart, to your heart.
Please pray with me. Dear God, I have a confession. For as long as I can remember, I have tried my hardest to be a good person and to love humanity. I set the intention of being kind and compassionate and to love others as I know I am called to do. My confession is that recently I realized there are a lot of things about humanity that I find confusing and other things that I can say I honestly just don't like. Please forgive me for this. Why, for example, do people like me who have everything they need to live happy lives have to be reminded so often to be grateful? And why is it that so often, when being nagged by our own insecurities, do we feel compelled to judge or even undermine the way others live their lives? What causes us to choose arrogance over compassion? In spite of the things I don't like about humanity, I still feel a strong urge to love and support my fellow humans. However, after so much time alone last year, more than ever I am most comfortable in my own company. Interacting with others can feel so challenging, and my own quest for peace causes me to draw inward. I focus on my own needs and goals and inadvertently contribute to my own sense of isolation. And so, God, I come to you in gratitude for all you have given to me and that I am able to share with others. I thank you for a life that is rich in experiences and personalities, and I ask you for the courage to connect with others. I ask you for the wisdom to know when and how to give of myself, and for the ability to care for myself in order to have the energy to do for others. Most of all, I ask that you hear this intention, that all people would feel safe, protected, and confident wherever they are in order to be able to give and receive in a healthy and civilized manner. Amen.
Mom has a two-headed baby. Bet that made for a trying delivery. Henry, it's none of our business. It'll only make it worse.
I don't care.
Henry, no, stop. Come on.
Mom. That woman today at the grocery store, you didn't do anything to help her.
I told you, it just wasn't our business.
I think when someone hurts someone else, I think it is our business.
Well, I know it seems that way, but there was nothing I could do.
Yeah, Mom, if everybody did that, then there would be no one to look out for the people who just can't look out for themselves.
So what should I have done? I didn't want things to get violent.
Violence isn't the worst thing in the world.
What is then?
Apathy.
2 weeks ago, I was in line to board an airplane. A late arriving passenger rushed up to the gate. She was pushing a large cart filled with probably 4 or 5 suitcases. She looked disheveled and very fraught with anxiety. Those of us in line had already endured several loudspeaker announcements about how we could only carry on 1 personal item and 1 carry-on bag, and all other bags needed to be checked. So several people looked at this late arriving passenger and quickly looked away. She embodied everything that we weren't supposed to be at that moment. An airline employee slipped away from the gate desk and came up to her. "Ma'am, are you traveling alone?" "Yes." And you're traveling with all these bags?" "Yes." "Well, you're gonna have to come to the gate, and you can't bring that cart." The gate employee turned on his heel and left her. The woman was near tears. She looked around at everyone standing in line, and we all just looked back at her. No one moved, no one spoke. And then to no one in particular, but everyone in general, she said these whispered words. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this cart. I'm a mess. My daughter died. I had to take an emergency flight. And her words trailed off. I looked around and no one did anything, and I stepped toward her and I said, "I'm so sorry you lost your daughter." And she said, "Thank you." And then I continued, just leave the cart there. Someone will come and get it. "Do you want me to help you get your bags over there?" She said, No, thank you. And her face relaxed a little bit. When she finished at the desk, she returned to the line, and my new best friend came and stood next to me. She was clearly in distress, and she was as disheveled inside as she was outside. I wanted to help ease her as best as I could in that circumstance. So we chatted, and she told me a little bit about things, and as we walked toward the plane, and then of course on the plane we went our separate ways, but not before she thanked me for my kindness. I settled into my seat, and I thought about what had just taken place, and I decided that we need to be reminded of that kind of experience. We need to remember why we're here on this earth. We are not here to simply serve ourselves and our needs. We are here to help each other out. Now, I don't tell you that story so you'll think I'm like a really nice person. I'm not always that bold or nice. I'm not always that kind. I'm not always that thoughtful. But I tell you that story, and I picked this topic because we all, every one of us, need to be reminded of our place in this society. Every single one of us. As we are emerging from the pandemic, it makes sense that we are totally focused on ourselves. We've been living with fear and uncertainty, which places us in trauma mode. And when we're in trauma mode, we don't think about other people. We go into our own survival skills, and we pretty much just think about ourselves and our own needs. There are a lot of psychological studies going on right now, and I suspect they will for years to come, that are observing how our level of compassion may have literally decreased because of the pandemic. It has to do with the overload of information that we received over this past year about death and about the dangers to our health. And as we heard that data of the numbers of lives lost and the number of people seriously ill, we were numbed by the numbers. And in many ways, we had to just stop caring. Tiffany Wen, writer, summarizes this beautifully. She says, "This exemplifies one of the most baffling aspects of the human response to the plight of others. While most of us will see a single death as a tragedy, we can struggle to have the same response to large-scale loss of life." So here is our gentle reminder to open our eyes. Look around and see those around us who need assistance. We need to be gently nudged by these words from Mother Teresa. "If I look at the mass, I will never act. If I look at the one, I will." We need to hold doors open for parents with their arms full of children, for people with mobility issues, for anyone who might be struggling with the weight of the door. We need to move out of people's way sometimes, not just trudge forward without wavering from our own path. We need to notice when someone is standing alone or sitting alone, and we need to be willing to go to them and stand with them or sit with them. We need to be more observant. When we see someone with a lost look on their face, we need to take a moment and offer assistance. Now, this next video clip that you are about to watch is an experiment. Someone filmed this child alone on a street to see how people would react. This child was never in danger.
Hey bud, you lost? Yeah? Are you okay?
No.
No? Do you know where your family's at? Is your mom anywhere around?
No.
No? You wanna go find them? What's your name?
Hayden.
Hayden?
Hayden.
Hayden, that's a cool name. Fist bump me. Yeah! At first I was walking down a couple of times here. I wanted to go to the bathroom, get some coffee. And on my way back down, I was like, oh, he's still there. So I thought maybe he was lost because he was just in the middle of the street. Didn't want him getting, run over or being picked up by somebody else.
Hey man, hey, we just saw you looking at the kid, and you look like you're very concerned, but you didn't approach him. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, he looked a little lost, and I was kind of lost myself, but it's kind of like a tricky situation. How would you feel if, like you saw a stranger put a hand on your kid? I don't want to, get involved with that, but yeah, I did stop. I looked at him because he looked lost, and how could you help a kid? It's kind of tricky. I would definitely look for a woman around. Look for the first thing that comes to mind is like a mother figure. So I definitely would want like a woman present. I feel like that would be more comfortable.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses. No expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to tell. When people run in circles, it's a very, very children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And I feel the way the sun, sit down in the sun. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Heard no teacher tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams of which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. People run in circles, it's a very
A popular parable in the Bible, commonly called the Good Samaritan, is another example of people walking past someone who needed help. This story is found in Luke 10, and it goes like this. There was a Jewish man walking along a road traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho, which was a good full 1 or 2 days walk. As he was walking along, minding his own business, a group of men jumped out from behind a hill, robbed him, beat him, tore off most of his clothes, and left him lying and bleeding on the side of the road. A few minutes later, a priest was walking down the same path and noticed the man lying on the side of the road. Now, we would think that a priest would run over and help the injured man, but he didn't. Instead, this priest crossed the road and walked on the other side, acting as though he hadn't seen him. About an hour or so later, another man called a Levite was walking down the same road. Now, Levites were people who assisted priests with their work, so we would think he would be willing to help the injured man, but he merely slowed down, walked a little closer to him, and then continued walking without offering any assistance. A few minutes later, a Samaritan came walking along. Now, Samaritans and Jews were not friendly toward each other. In fact, they were enemies. However, this Samaritan went over to the injured Jewish man and felt compassion for him. He treated and bandaged his wounds. He lifted him onto a donkey and took him to an inn to take care of him. The Samaritan left money with the innkeeper to cover the injured man's stay until he was well enough to leave. The least likely individual was filled with compassion for the wounded man and helped him. This parable is often shared to remind us to notice the misfortune of others and to be willing to set aside our differences and offer assistance anyway. So one day, a Sunday school teacher was telling this story of the Good Samaritan to her class of 4 and 5-year-olds. She was making it as vivid as possible to keep the children interested in her tale. And then she asked the class, so, if you saw a person lying on the roadside all wounded and bleeding, what would you do? A thoughtful little girl broke the hushed silence. I think I'd throw up. It doesn't take a lot of time to notice someone else. It doesn't take much time to offer assistance. It just takes a willing spirit. It just takes the recognition that we all need help from time to time, and it makes all the difference in the world. Helping someone out doesn't make us soft or weak. It makes the world more beautiful. It gives people hope. It tells us that we matter, and when people are nice to us and help us out, we are much likely to go and do the same. I would like each one of us to pause right now and take a moment and remember a time when we were in desperate need of help, physically or emotionally, and somebody was there for us. Someone stood with us, held our hand in the darkness, sat with us while we cried, prayed for us to get stronger, checked on us as we recovered. It made all the difference in our world. It gave us hope. It helped make us who we are right now. Years ago, anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked by a student what she considered to be the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture. The student expected Mead to talk about fish hooks or clay pots or grinding stones. But instead, Mead said that the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture was a femur, which is your very large thigh bone, a femur that had been broken and then healed. Mead explained that in the animal world, if you break your leg, you die. You can't run from danger. You can't get to the river for a drink. You can't go hunt for food. You are meat for prowling beasts. No animal survives a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal. A broken femur that has healed is evidence that someone has taken time to stay with the one who fell, has bound up the wound, has carried the person to safety, and has tended that person through recovery. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts. Margaret Mead said, "We are at our best when we serve others. Be civilized." It is my prayer that we will be bold enough to step out of our own line and be willing to help someone who needs something or is in trouble. May we choose to remain beside the broken as they heal. In this way, we are offering hope and making major contributions to our civilization. Amen. musician and writer Charles DeLint wrote these words: "I don't want to live in the kind of world where we don't look out for each other. Not just the people that are close to us, but anybody who needs a helping hand. I can't change the way anybody else thinks or what they choose to do, but I can do my bit." I completely agree, Charles. I will vow to do my bit, and I hope you will consider joining me. It was wonderful to see each one of you here on this incredibly beautiful day. Next Sunday, we will be celebrating a virtual Father's Day service, and in 2 weeks, we will be back here at Conner Prairie to learn about 5 things that we can't change. I hope to see you then. Have a great week and go in peace. Amen.